Hello, welcome to this week's power session with Follow Your Effort. I'm George Klimis. I'll be your host today, and I'm looking forward to this subject because it's important to me. It's an important reminder for me. And today's subject is the cost of inconsistency. And why is this so important? Well, for me, as many of you know, I've shared with this numerous times, my goal, my micro focus in 2026 is discipline, consistency, and success and excellence. So consistency is identified as a major key to that success because when you have discipline and you're consistent with it, then you will have that success. You will achieve your goals. You will drive towards your vision. So I'm glad you're here today, and we will jump right in. The cost of inconsistency. It's the small daily habits. That's what shapes our professional reputation. Flat out. So we're not going to be talking from a perspective of a large, conglomerate like a Bank of America or from the corporate side of it. We are talking about specifically you. We're talking about me, right? Individual. And we're talking about your habits, your performance, and lastly, your reputation, right? Your brand. That's extremely important to us to make sure that we're striving towards excellence in those regards because inconsistency absolutely has a cost and most people don't realize it. So it takes some humility. You have to be the one, you're the only one who can look hard in the mirror and answer these questions and evaluate, are you consistent enough? Can you be more consistent? And understanding the value prop for your brand. So we'll go ahead and now define what is inconsistency. Okay, this is important. Inconsistency is effort driven by moods and emotions. Okay, because that is emotional intelligence. That is a core concept of Follow Your Effort. So we have to make sure that we're not allowing our moods and our emotions to drive our day. Standards that fluctuate. Again, huge pillar of Follow Your Effort. You have to establish your standards. You have to live by them. You have to be true to them more than anything else. Standards are what is going to identify you and is going to project the image you want for those who interact with you. Strong starts, weak finishes. That's why this is critical, right? We're 2 months into the first quarter, and I started out very strongly on my goals, as I'm sure many of you have. But this is a chance to do that evaluation once a week, once a month, once a quarter. We want to constantly be evaluating. A, are we sticking to our plan? B, are we being consistent with it? And C, do we make any adjustments, any tweaks to what our strategy is on plan? Discipline that disappears under pressure, right? That's where I'd marry discipline and consistency. Got to be consistent. Even in the toughest situations, you have to maintain control. And preparation that depends on motivation. Motivation comes, motivation goes. What doesn't is a strategy and a plan that you're committed to that meets your standards and meets your competencies, etc. That's to Follow Your Effort way. Inconsistency, it's not about laziness, right? It's about an unstable effort. So we'll get focusing on that. All right, let's go to the statistical reality. I love data. I love data that supports what we think we know. And in this case, the Harvard Business Review, one of my favorite publications, it shows that reliability is the strongest predictors of long-term preferred professional trust, right? You can watch the other video about from our last power session regarding trust, right? And the currency of trust. But yes, consistency absolutely will determine how well you'll grow over time. Studies on deliberate practice show that consistent, structured repetition, right? Repetition, not burst of intensity, that drives elite performance. right? We're going for that maximum output. And lastly, Gallup research shows that individuals who demonstrate steady engagement outperform peers in productivity and career advancement. So again, that engagement, steady engagement, consistent engagement, staying on task with your follow your effort plan. So let's talk about the invisible cost, right? Because most of us, we don't even realize we're doing it. It doesn't explode, right? Inconsistency does if you don't show up the next day inconsistent, like that flu. It is an erosion over time. Okay. And as it erodes, you're going to see confidence gaps, right? Self doubt. Your reputation will drift. Okay. Our reputation, our brand, it's so important. We can always repair it. It takes time. Easier to just establish it as a consistent reputation, forgive me. When you have a consistent reputation, long-term, huge benefits. Inconsistency creates mental fatigue. You're taking yourself off track, right? You're not doing what you said you were going to do. That creates fatigue. Financial volatility. Again, going back, you're building up your brand, you're building up a good clientele, and you become inconsistent. Been there, done that. It's going to impact your overall performance, your financial volatility, your financial success will become more volatile as you have to, repair every time you fall. And then self-doubt cycles. We talked about that. So here's the kicker. Every time you underperform relative to your own standards, you weaken your own internal trust. And when you don't trust yourself, everything's going to feel heavier. So there's another invisible cost of personal well-being. The emotional instability factor. So most inconsistency is purely emotional, right? When you feel sharp, positive one, you execute, right? But feel off, you pull back, okay? When you feel criticized, we shrink, right? Instead of embracing the critique, you start to doubt yourself or feel bad for yourself. Not good. You feel discouraged. The times are tough. Maybe the market's tough. Maybe you've had some losses. Well, when you get discouraged, you disengage rather than stay on tempo, stay on plan. So it's not performance discipline we're talking about here. It's emotional negotiations that we do with ourselves. And that's what I was alluding to earlier. Do not allow yourself to do that, right? Take that ability away, because elite professionals, they don't negotiate with their moods or their emotions. They operate on standards. The compounding effect. There's powerful research and behavioral psychology and performance sciences showing that small daily behaviors compound over time. And that's for good behaviors and bad behaviors. So think about it this way. One inconsistent day, no big deal. It happens. We have them, right? You recoup, you recover, you start the next day back on track, back on plan. One inconsistent week, you're going to feel it. You're going to feel it. One inconsistent quarter, now you've fallen behind. It created some stress. And one inconsistent year, you're rebuilding. And again, something you can overcome. And with focus, you will be able to rebuild. And then again, with follow your effort, we're not going to go back. We're going to have those guardrails. So inconsistency, it creates balance, right? And valleys kill momentum. The competence equation. Competence is not built from outcome, right? It's built from evidence. So every time you hit your effort standards, for example, every time you stay on path, you deposit evidence of success. right, of achievement. Every time you drift away and you get off track, you're withdrawing it. So competence, it isn't hype, it's documented self-trust. Okay. Big difference between someone who's overly confident, rambunctious, brags quite a bit. Very different than competence, which is self-trust. And inconsistency, rubs count of self-trust. So let's put this into a follow your effort reframe. Forgive me. Follow your effort. Consistency isn't about intensity. It's about stability. That's our focus, right? So most professionals, they follow the results. Of course, it's important. Motivation comes and goes. Urgency, what's most important, takes you off track. And emotions, we know that. Follow your effort says, follow controllable effort standards, right? Set a minimum each day of what your efforts got to look like at the least amount on your worst day. You still have to have that floor. So set that minimum, test it, and repeat it frequently, right? Use that discipline to repeat it consistently. And your floor determines your future, right? If your floor is going down, doesn't matter what your ceiling is, you're getting further away from it. Your floor determines your future, not your ceiling. So here's some tactical resets, just a little dabble into the follow your effort key chest. 3 practical resets. Define your daily effort floor. Talked about that. In other words, how many calls you're going to make? How much preparation time do you need? Your competency. Are you being consistent with that? Track your behaviors, not your feelings. Keep a journal, right? Notate what has been accomplished. To-do list of fantastic just shows your accomplishment, shows your achievement in the smallest form. And remove that permission to drift. We talked about that before. We're going to talk about it again, over and over. Self-regulate, right? You are allowed to put up your own guardrails and live by them and be true to yourself. So you don't rise to motivation, you default to systems, right? And those systems are what's going to keep us moving in the right direction. So some closing thoughts for you to ponder. Okay, just think about these ideas. Inconsistency is expensive, and it's not because you can't perform, but because you can't repeat your performance. Your career will not be defined by your best day. It will be defined by how professional you are on your most average day. So keep those things in mind. Thank you again for joining us this week. And we, as you know, do our power session the first and third Wednesday of each month. It's your leadership reset. It's a chance for you to get clarity and competency and build that competitive edge for you. So be sure to mark your calendars, 11:30 Eastern time. Nice little charge, right? Nice little reboot. Our next one, March 18th, effort versus emotion. Who is driving your day? That will be a good one. And please connect with us. You can email me anytime, george@followyoureffort.com. Please visit our website. You have different tools there available for you, videos, blogs, etc. Then hopefully and will most likely inspire you and give you some insight into what successful people do to be at the top performance, at the top level of their game. LinkedIn, Facebook, always sharing good things. So be sure to follow us. Again, really appreciate you joining us. I'm George Klimis. Follow your effort. Good strength. Have a good day.